Hi there. Today I've got a very special person with us. Her name is Allison and she specialises in irritable bowel syndrome and other associated bowel disorders. Now, Allison, what is irritable bowel syndrome?
Well, Bruce, it's really a collection of digestive symptoms which may include diarrhea, constipation, bloating, cramping, and just disturbance in bowel habits.
Okay.
And it can be quite debilitating for people. It can lead to anxiety and reluctance to go out in public.
You wouldn't want to go out, would you?
And you can imagine if you're not sure when an attack's going to come on, you're not going to hit the golf course, or you're not going to be comfortable
there's no
getting on a train. Irritable bowel is diagnosed when, it's given the label of irritable bowel when doctors can't find a physical cause, when they can't see inflammation, when there's no infection.
Yes.
Recently, some beautiful work's been done by Sue Shepherd, a dietitian in Box Hill, and discovered that a lot of the people who have been labelled IBS actually have fructose intolerance.
And how do you get IBS? How does it start? What causes it?
Yeah, I've had a number of clients who have actually had an infection. A number of them have been overseas, got some exotic tummy bug,
I've had a dose of that in Bali at one stage.
They can come back with a sensitive gut,
right.
And then I believe often antibiotics on top of that can disturb the gut flora, so they end up with a lack of the good bugs.
Oh yes,
and that can just start a bit of a vicious cycle. The mind and the emotions have an incredible effect on the digestive system. What happens is when we're in fight and flight mode, when we're anxious and there's adrenaline in the system, the digestive system stops working.
Oh really?
So
all of the energy can go into the important areas.
So you can fight or flee.
Ah, of course, yes.
So the digestion stops, and sometimes that means that constipation happens, but more often than not, it means that the body will evacuate.
That's very interesting. I suppose my next question is: you've been a hypnotherapist for many years now. You use your hypnosis with the irritable bowel syndrome. How does that work?
Well, it can work in a number of ways. It can help. Hypnosis is a fantastic way to help people relax. So you can relax quite deeply, quite quickly with hypnosis. And hypnosis isn't what a lot of people think. It is actually it's a natural state of being.
Yes.
It's a bit like a daydreamy state when you're just half awake.
And
I tell people it's like just lying there with your eyes closed listening to a bedtime story. So they go into it feeling very safe and very
that's a good
very
way
comfortable.
of doing it, actually, yes.
Relaxation, pain management. The mind can be incredibly powerful at numbing the sensations of pain.
Right.
So there's a filter in the back of the mind, the back of the brain, that can actually filter out sensations when the brains and the mind is given the right instructions.
Righto.
It can create numbness. And I actually do, as you said, I do a lot of work with women to have their babies with hypnosis.
Oh, righto.
And a lot of them say, no pain. We teach them how to go into self-hypnosis, how to numb that part of the body.
I think you ladies need to get onto this.
Medication is only going to treat the symptoms.
That's right, so they're not getting to the issue. Right,
That's
so they have to continue taking the medication, or else, and if they stop, it comes back to normal sort of thing.
That's right. And a lot of gastroenterologists and dietitians, GPs are referring to me now. I actually, to be honest, I get the too hard basket when the medicos haven't been able to help.
Right.
And people, are really on their last legs, and they say,
need help.
I can't live with this any longer.
Yes.
And I find
is this a form of self-hypnosis?
Well, what I do, Bruce, is actually give people a CD to listen to at home. So I have weekly sessions with them for, maybe 6 weeks.
Okay.
But actually ask them to listen to a CD each week,
a
each
recording
day.
of the visit, or another one?
No, one I've recorded specifically.
Right.
And to actually get them to do that each day, so they get a daily dose of hypnosis.
Yes.
And some people call that self-hypnosis when they're listening to a CD.
Right, yes. The other question I wanted to ask you, Allison, was what's the sort of success rate with your hypnosis and irritable bowel syndrome?
Well, the studies have shown, there've been some interesting studies, which is why the medicos are happy to refer to me.
Bless our brothers and sisters in the medical fraternity.
So a study in Manchester in England, they did actually a number of them, and also North Carolina University. And there's a website which is called ibshypnosis.com, which is
ibshypnosis.com.
worth having a look at, and they show an 80% success rate.
Get rid of it completely.
Yeah, what I find is the people that do their homework do better. Listen to the CD.
Right, yes.
Unless it's an issue that's a one-off traumatic incident that's been stored in the gut, and once you resolve that with hypnosis, then the problems can go away altogether quite quickly, surprisingly quickly.
Now, I've also heard intelligence. Does intelligence have any bearing on the amount of the effectiveness of hypnosis?
The more intelligent someone is, the better hypnosis works.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
I actually, I've got a funny story about that. I did some work with the gastroenterologists at Box Hill Hospital. There was a regional meeting of gastroenterologists, and I was talking them into trance and just getting them to fixate on a spot on the ceiling and telling them that as they breathed, their eyelids were feeling heavier and their eyelids would just close over and lock shut.
Yes.
And there were a couple of, it was working beautifully with 80% people, and then there were just a few people there who still had their eyes wide open thinking this isn't working. And I just said that it's interesting that studies show that the more intelligent someone is, the more quickly they go into trance.
Right.
And these guys went...
So if they choose to, they can go into trance quite easily. Does this sort of treatment work for all types of bowel disorders, not just IBS? I know there's a few other types of bowel disorder.
Yes. Well, Bruce, the studies show that the studies were with IBS, Irritable Bowel Syndrome.
Yes.
But I personally am really, really happy to work with any physical condition, because I believe that the mind can help to some extent, if not heal, pretty much any physical condition that you've got. But things like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease and celiac disease, I worked with all of those conditions for people. Someone I know actually had ulcerative colitis for many, many years, tried everything medical under the sun, and ended up doing the emotional work to clear what she perceived as deep-seated anger from childhood issues, and she fixed the ulcerative colitis and has been symptom-free for the last 7 years.
That's phenomenal.
And the doctors say, no, it can't be fixed. So I'm open to try it with anything.
And sisters in the medical profession.
Love them to bits.
But this, by the way, I haven't mentioned this, but Allison has actually made us up a very special recording for IBS sufferers. Would this recording work, as you say, for other bowel disorders as well? Or is that a more specific for each individual sort of case?
I wouldn't have any hesitation in using it for any tummy troubles.
Okay, really. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, Allison's made this recording up. Interviewed Allison, you can see she is a genius. She's had a lot of success. If you want to try the recording, it's absolutely free. You've heard how it works. Allison's been very generous